While reflecting on what may happen after the next shockwave of President Trump's worldwide tariffs, I once again considered how this trade war will affect the world, especially Taiwan and the region. The Trump administration's targeted foe is in Asia, where Taiwan happens to be. And there's nowhere you passport bros and gals can go to avoid the effects of what some people in the U.S. and abroad call U.S. terrorist tariffs. And remember that Warren Buffett warned us in 2003, and now someone has to pay the bills. The question is, who has to pay most of these bills? Coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan, welcome to 4C's One Family. It has always been about
China.
Because of cheaper wages and fewer requirements to protect workers. It became the destination for humongous amounts of foreign investments. Along with the fact that China has taken advantage of its leverage to become the world's factory. It implemented rules and regulations concerning factory ownership and investments that gave state-sponsored entities advantages. So the current U.S. president and his enablers are using their money and connections to levy taxes not only on China, but worldwide. U.S. tariffs on Taiwan goods has been placed at 32%, and all Taiwan representatives can do is hold representations with Washington. I feel Taiwan's porcupine status will become less effective in the future. I feel once the United States is able to mass produce quality chips within its borders, most Americans may find it unnecessary, at least short term, to even care about Taiwan. This type of arrogance may cause Taiwan to fall deeper into a hole of lost recognition. Now, I know this will piss a few people off, but as I briefly mentioned in 2003, Warren Buffett warned us about something like this occurring in his article, America's Growing Trade Deficit is Selling the Nation Out from Under Us. Here's a way to fix the problem, and we need to do it now. Now, without going deeply into his article, he pointed out how America's squandering allowed foreign entities to buy up solid land assets in the U.S. and use as leverage over U.S. debt. I know that I may sound hyperbolic, but let me make a few statements and ask a few questions. The U.S. government has declared that these duties were implemented because of unbalanced trade relationships that reduced American manufacturing capacities. The United States currently lacks low-wage manufacturing facilities that are already available here in Asia. Did Asian nations take or steal business from America, or did investors just want to increase their return on investments? Was the cost of investing in manufacturing in America too high for investors? Or was the cost of employing American workers too high compared to workers here in Asia who were well educated and above all motivated? The global trade system, which has been in place since the end of World War II, has been anchored on the United States, and some say it may be time for a change. However, a problem still exists in the U.S. that the incredibly rich still pay a lot less percentage-wise in taxes than the normal, everyday, regular American citizen pays. An American citizen pays up to 35% in taxes. So now is the time regular citizens worldwide must save and diversify. Keep in mind that the U.S. government isn't focused on taxing the super wealthy. The super wealthy are able to use their investments to avoid paying high taxes because in the United States, stocks and real estate aren't taxed heavily, which is about 3 to 8% of their true income. But personal incomes and wages are taxed heavily, which can run as high as 35%. This is just one reason why the wealthy accumulate so much land that regular people must earn a heavily taxed income on to live on. So in other words, people working on the ground are the taxables, and the wealthy are the untaxables, which makes them the untouchables. And that would be a topic for another video. The Hoover Institute Uncommon Knowledge YouTube channel on April 1st posted an interview where Dr. Thomas Sowell made a few comments concerning the U.S. tariffs aftershocks. Now, Thomas Sowell is a 94-year-old no-nonsense Black American conservative, economist, historian, social philosopher, and political commentator. Mr. Sowell is currently a senior fellow at Hoover Institute and has published countless numbers of books on related topics and has made countless TV and radio appearances concerning his conservative views that are painful for some people to hear. But anyway, I would like to paraphrase a bit of what he said in the interview. He's using these tariffs to get various strategic things settled that he isn't satisfied with. But if you set off a worldwide trade war that has a devastating history, everybody loses because everybody follows suit. And all that happens is that you get a great reduction in international trade. The other is it's disturbing in another sense. Franklin D. Roosevelt, when he was president in the 1930s, said that if you have to try things and they don't work, then you admit it. You abandon it. And you go on to something else, and you try that until you come across something that does work. That's just part of what Dr. Sowell had to say in this episode. So now let's move on to globalization. Now, there are a lot of good points and bad points to be made concerning globalization. However, let's take some time to think about whether it is possible or advisable to continue this type of globalization that currently exists. My question is, what could happen if a nation tries to totally rely on itself, or is it even possible in today's world? No nation has unlimited resources, so if it totally closes itself off and gets attacked from all sides, it will eventually collapse. Who does America's current realignment help, and will regular Americans be helped, or only additional enemies be made? My response to President Trump's escalating trade war is that we're entering a new reality like blind mice. The stock market is plummeting, and whether we like it or not, and no matter where we are on Earth, this shock treatment may leave scars that may last for generations. If you have found what we have to offer of any value, please click on the subscribe and bell buttons below to keep up to date with our current episodes. And if you listen to our podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment because we're very interested to hear what you have to say. Thank you for joining us here at 4 Seas One Family. And remember to stay strong, safe, and healthy wherever you are in the world, because we have much more in common than we think.